and joins me now. So, Sarah, we just walked through some of the turbulent times for Chapek there. But I wonder, is it completely fair to blame all of this on him? Certainly, he could not have predicted the timing of COVID. The Don't Say Gay bill presumably was his decision. But I just wonder if all of the troubles that Disney has had the last 2 years, if it's fair to place this all on him.
No, and it's not like Disney has totally bombed. In under Chapek's reign, Disney has surpassed Netflix at one point in number of total subscribers across all of its streaming services. It's been able to pull its linear networks out of a hole thanks to the reemergence of live sports. So it's not like it's been a total fiasco. I think investors reacted very negatively to Disney's earnings because what they were looking for was a growth in profits, trying to get streaming more profitable, not necessarily just increasing the number of subscribers. But the other thing I'd note here too is that it's not Disney alone. All of the major entertainment companies are going through layoffs right now. Many of them are struggling to get their streaming services to be profitable. And that includes CNN's parent, Warner Bros. Discovery, as well as Paramount Global, Comcast, et cetera. So I don't think it's fair to pin this entire thing on Bob Chapek, but I do think his early blunders, the ones that you noted with Scarlett Johansson, with the Don't Say Gay bill, they didn't help him in this regard.
We talked about the earnings report earlier this month. Do you think that maybe there was a cultural disconnect there? I mean, I know he had been at the company for a long time, but I saw reported that some had warned him about his tone before the earnings call, that it was overly optimistic, and that maybe perhaps part of this was interpersonal or culturally just not the right fit. I mean, what do you think about that?
So there's two things here. One, there have been reports that it wasn't culturally the right fit, but also I think it's hard for Bob Chapek to walk into this role when, he is trying to fill the shoes of Bob Iger. Bob Iger didn't really come out in huge support of Chapek during some of the most tumultuous times, like the Don't Say Gay bill. So it was hard for Chapek to become that cultural fit. But on the other hand, leading up into earnings and talking about having a rosier outlook, I don't think that Disney was doing anything that was particularly egregious compared again to its competitors. I also think that in terms of the widening losses at its streaming service, he's continued to say that he expects it to become profitable in 2024, which has been the long-term guidance ever since they launched it under Iger in 2019. And so while I do think that Bob Chapek is to blame for some of these things, I think some of it is things that he could not have necessarily helped.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And look, I think it's really interesting because Disney Plus has seen pretty explosive growth with subscribers, right? I mean, this last quarter, they added 12.1 million subscribers. They're not quite up to Netflix, but they're catching up. And so I wonder if we could step back more broadly. I feel like even just last year, a few years ago, it was all bets on streaming. The future was streaming. And now we're sort of in a different phase in the economy where Netflix, for example, folks are realizing that it can't just be growth at all costs. Sort of walk me through sort of what you're seeing in the larger landscape.
Yeah, well, we started to see streaming subscribers slow down earlier this year. And as a result, Wall Street started to put pressure on these companies to tighten the belt, to focus more on profitability over the promise of a rosy future. And what that did was it forced companies to spend less on content. Disney itself said it would spend $1 billion less than it had originally projected. And it also forced companies to make some cuts. It's not just Disney that said it's going to be going under layoffs, but Netflix had layoffs, et cetera. And as a result, these companies had to figure out ways where they were going to become more profitable. So Netflix, as you know, earlier this year launched its ad-supported tier. Disney's expected to launch its ad-supported tier in the US on December 8th. These are all things that they're trying to do to make Wall Street happy. And to your point, Wall Street is now much more focused on profitability than ever before because we are going through a potential recession or at the very, best case outlook, just a weakening of the economy right now.
And Sarah, speaking of Wall Street, how much do you think activist investors had to do with Bob Chapek stepping down? I mean, you think about Dan Loeb, for example, but activist investors seem to have become a bit more prominent as of late.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's not just in the media industry, it's across many industries. Look, I think it played a role because activist investors try to go in, drum up support, sometimes, leaking things through the press. But I don't think that's what ultimately dealt the blow to Bob Chapek's career at Disney. I think it was to the things we had pointed out before, not the best cultural fit. He was trying to come in at a time when the economy was very weak, and he was replacing the shoes of Bob Iger, which a lot of these investors, including some of those activists, absolutely loved. So it may have been a part of it, but I don't think that's what ultimately drove this decision.
Well, it's just been really fascinating to watch, as you pointed out in your reporting earlier. The move marks one of the messiest corporate succession failures in recent memory. Sara Fischer, good to have you.